Good morning, good people. Good morning. What happened to our... Good morning, good people. Today is Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Aha. Happy birthday to Lucy. Right. Okay, good. Good one, Lucy. Happy birthday to you. To send her a happy birthday. Where is she? Right? Today's the 13th, right? Yeah, there we go. I remember that day years and years ago. Okay, oops, what? Sorry about that. Dealing with some medical, not medical. This is not Metallica. Some medical professionals who want to help the people we're trying to move forward. There you go. Righty then, so we need to pull this together. Need to pull it together, see who I can take, etc., etc. Okay, back to it. Today is Thursday, the 13th of November, 2025. It is just after 6 in the morning here in southwestern Nevada. We are west of Sin City, east of Death Valley, south of Area 51. Spooky territory, hard scrabble, sharp elbowed, pistol packing, rootin' tootin' people. You can always tell somebody who's from here. You just can't tell them much. In other words, the harvest is ripe, the workers are few. A lot of opportunity here. It's a great petri dish, a great test case, great way to come up with new ideas and test them. How to make things better. When you want to try to make things better, it doesn't work if you start with people who have everything they need. It kind of works if you start with people who think they have what they need, who think they have the answers. But nevertheless, instead of helping their fellow man, instead of feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, clothing to the naked, housing, helping the sick, visiting the people in jail, instead of that, it's like, you don't deserve it because you didn't work hard like me. You're not like me. I'm not going to help you. As opposed to in places where there's affluence, where the typical idea is, what is the expression? But for God, there go I. I got lucky. That could have happened to me, but it didn't. So I'm grateful. And somebody helped me out, so I'm going to help you out. I have a surplus, so I can share. All kinds of thoughts like that. Or I take pride in making my community look good. I take pride in my community that takes pride in helping the least fortunate. That's what people with a abundance mindset, how they think. All right, but today is our day to talk about stress. Our theme of today is not prime the Raz, it's get stressed. That's weird. I thought for sure I posted that. Boom. Get stressed. What? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay, but first, let's look for advice from an 80-year-old. Choose your life's mate carefully. No, what the heck happened here? What in tarnations happened? It's not that. It's do kind acts, do random kind acts for people who will never. Right, do random kind acts for people who will never know. Yeah, okay, wow, interesting. All right, but here we is. Yeah. All right. Seth Godin. Let's go to Seth Godin. What happens when the long-term cost of our situation is uncomfortably linked to the short-term expense and pain of changing the situation? It's easy to feel stuck. So the long-term cost is linked to the short-term expense and pain of changing it. It's easy to feel stuck. One way to deal with the feeling, is to insist that there's no way to change the situation, that the price we'll have to pay upfront is so big, we simply have to live with the day-to-day consequences forever. An alternative is to realize that we might have a choice. If we choose to stay where we are, we're not stuck at all. We're simply selecting our best option. From there, we can make an informed choice about whether we really want to live with the long-term consequences of that choice. If so, at least we can own the outcome. If you had tomorrow to do over again, how would you choose to do it? Stuck is a situation, stuck might be a problem, and stuck can be a choice. Okay, instead of saying we're stuck, we can say we choose to be stuck because the alternative is not, it's too expensive, it's not viable, we don't have the resources, whatever. So this is where we is. All right, that's another good one that needs to be contemplated. All right. So where are we at? We are at, this is week 2, day 4 in our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Neuroscience as opposed to what? Well, as opposed to a psychological approach to success, or as opposed to a spiritual approach to success, or opposed to a meteorological, well, probably not meteorological, but this is the neuroscience oriented approach to success. So in other words, what's going on in our brain? Who am I, and why do I behave the way I do? If I understand that, if I understand how my brain works, then I have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now. From a neuroscience perspective, yesterday we talked about if it was a psychology approach to driving a car, it would be you get the best driver and he tells you how to drive a car. A neuroscience approach is first you learn how the car works. So when something goes wrong, you know how bad it is, and you might know how to fix it. You might know what to do, like stop, or you know what, you got time to get to a dealer, or that's no big deal. So neuroscience-oriented approach to success. This is week 2, where we're really learning about the brain. Monday, neurons, or neurons, as Yuval Harari would say. Tuesday, neurotransmitters. Wednesday, reticular activating system. Thursday, today we're talking about stress because it's something we deal with all the time. And we mainly hear, don't get stressed out, man. Relax, calm down, chill. So today we're going to learn, well, golly gee, that's not really the right thing to do. Because the studies show stress is not bad. Stress is the body's natural reaction to certain circumstances. Stress is not bad. It's the belief that stress is bad that's bad. So if you get stressed because of stress, if you continue to release cortisol into your system, that will be bad. And we're going to learn next week. No, we learned yesterday we learned on Tuesday from Simon Sinek that when cortisol is being released in your body, other things are not happening. Like your immune system becomes compromised. Because if you're in a fight or flight mode, you don't really need your immune system at that moment. But if you're constantly in a stressful situation, and so if you look around, you'll notice most people who get sick, they were in a stressful situation right before that. Their immune system got compromised. What does that mean? Well, our immune system is constantly working. It needs to be in good shape. But we get sick when our immune system isn't working. It could be that it's overwhelmed. We're just in too much of a situation. But on the other hand, it could be that our immune system is compromised. It's lowered, so lesser things can impact us and get us sick. People who are sick a lot, you'll see, if you notice them, you notice how they act and think, that they are more stressful. They're less carefree. And we'll also notice people who are carefree, who are happy, content, never get sick. They never get sick. They have a good immune system and it's working. They don't have a lot of cortisol in their system. So, Kelly McGonigal is, I think, still, after this, she went to Stanford and she's part of the Carol Dweck, Duckworth, Aaliyah Crum Brain Trust, is or was part of those people at Stanford who were growth mindset people, grit, stress, mindset. Aaliyah Crum, Mindset Matters, part of that brain trust. And Aaliyah Crum is talking, Kelly McGonigal is talking about stress, the impact of stress. On the system. And then, antidote to stress, she talks about another neurotransmitter, oxytocin. Oxytocin. So, one example she gives is, or description she gives is, when we are stressed, our blood vessels constrict. Our heart rate goes up, our blood vessels constrict. That creates more pressure. What's the benefit of the pressure? Well, the blood circulates faster. You get chemicals to the places they need to be much faster. You have more energy, things like that. You're ready for fight or flight. which is good. The problem is it's not good to be in that state for a long period of time. Now, oxytocin will do a couple things. One is it enables the blood vessels to get back to normal size. They are less constricted. And she says it attaches to your heart to repair the damage done by cortisol. And so you could say that feeling we get of love is when oxytocin is released. We kind of feel in our heart. So you can say that feeling you have is cortisol, is oxytocin attaching to the heart. That's what Kelly McGonigal says. You can fact check me that that's what she says. And what else does oxytocin feels like? She said it feels like courage. Feels like courage. So on our wheel that is throughout the book, there we go. Like on page 160, we have our beliefs, our feelings, our behavior, and the outcome. So when we imagine being courageous, running into a burning building, being a hero, saving people's lives, when we imagine that and we feel it, we are releasing oxytocin. When we're releasing oxytocin, our behavior would be consistent with that, and the outcome should be. So if you need to run into a burning building, a woman is screaming, my baby's in there, my baby's in there, help, save my baby's in there. What does it take to run into the building? It starts up here. Leah Crum would say it starts with an, well, actually, it's not a Leah Crum. I can't remember her name. It starts with an idea. It starts with a belief. If you believe you can run into that building, you can navigate in, run into that building, save the child, and reap the rewards of doing that, you will run in. So you're going to need dopamine. You're going to need endorphins to mask physical pain, dopamine to give you the strength and energy, adrenaline, maybe some testosterone, maybe not, and probably a little bit of serotonin and oxytocin, compassion, empathy. I need, that's a horrific death. I'm going to do what I can. I believe I can save that kid. That could be testosterone, confidence that you can do it. And then you will dash into that building, overcome the heat and the smoke, and find the baby, run out. You can see this before you do it. On the other hand, if you don't want to run into the building, you let the cortisol drench you, could be to the point where you're frozen stiff, where you have images of your face melting off, half your face melting off, and your life being ruined. And at that point, you're not going to run into the building. You're going to freeze, and every second that ticks by, the more the higher the flames, the stronger the flames, the more intense the flames, and the less likely it's going to happen. And then the screaming stops, and it's too late. And then you have guilt for the rest of your life because you'll be thinking, maybe I could have. What if I had just run into the building? What if I had run to the building and gotten to the door and said, there's just no way? Instead of standing out here in my safe place, frozen. Okay. So cortisol, powerful. And that is the natural consequence of stress. The fog of war. I don't know what to do. Do I fight or flight? I'm not sure. I'm frozen in place as my body's getting ready to do something. But our time is up. So with that, we're going to say Auf Wiedersehen until tomorrow.